And we are rolling. Hello and welcome. I hope you've been enjoying your life and continue to enjoy it. And if not, that's what this podcast is about. Is connecting you to that power, strength, beauty, and magic within yourself that empowers you to enjoy your life to the fullest, to live your life to the fullest, and to fulfill your purpose and your deepest desire. What I do on this podcast is I open up the channel and allow whatever needs to flow through, and today's topic is very exciting for me. I've already started receiving some information. I cannot wait to get deeper into it and have deeper insights about it. Whatever I talk about on this podcast, I'm also working on integrating that, embodying that at deeper and deeper levels. So, a lot of this is about actually practicing and embodying these insights in everyday life. Today's topic is about tapping into the power and strength that you have and learning how to actually use it. You and I and all of us have a lot of strength, a lot of power to live our lives to the fullest, to fulfill our mission, but we haven't been taught how to use it. And that's what we are going to dive deeper into in this episode. And also, how instead of fighting for the wrong seat, which you've been conditioned to desire, the seats at which you have to prove yourself, you have to fight for it, you have to compete, you have to always be insecure whether you'll keep the seat and there's someone else gunning for your seat. Switching from that mode to claiming your seat at tables which have always had a seat for you, where you're not just respected, you're revered for your gifts, your beauty, your power, your genius. And how to come into that worthiness to claim that seat instead of being in the insecurity of proving yourself for seats which do not even truly fulfill you and your soul at the deepest levels, the whole of you. So let's get into it. A lot of the conditioning that we receive is about how to consume from this empty hearted place where we are always in lack, where there's a void, where we have to fill something into ourselves to feel whole, to feel full. We develop our eating habits based on that. We develop all of this conditioning and behavior based on habits and behaviors that we see in our families, in the world around us, which is constantly in this consumption mode of filling this void within. What we are not taught is the strength, the power, the magic that we already have within ourselves. There's so much of it. How do you actually use it? Very few of us are actually taught that, are modeled that from the outside. We are constantly taught these victim dramas of how we are powerless and how we have to struggle and we have to fight and we have to prove ourselves. We have to show that we are actually worthy without actually first connecting us to that power and strength within us and telling us you are already worthy. Now, this is how you express it in a powerful way that others will also get it and benefit from it. What we are taught is you are not worthy. You have to prove that you're worthy, and you're not even taught how to actually express it in a healthy way. You have to figure that out yourself. You have to be struggling and fighting and trying to learn all the million tactics and techniques and skills that are not actually connecting you to your power within you. And for me, this is very sad because that's also been my story for a very, very long time. Is that for a long time, I was not seen in this way. Or even if I was seen, I was told you have the gifts, but you suck at actually expressing them. Because my grades were always poor. I was always towards the bottom 20% of the class. And what was this reflecting to me? That even if I have skills, I don't know how to use them, I don't know how to express them. And so basically, I just suck. It was after a long time that I met a mentor who actually saw my power, and showed me how to use it, showed me how to tap into it. Tap and Apart from the mentorship, I was also working with sacred plants, which directly connected me to that power and made me see what all I have, all the magic within me that is just waiting to burst out, is waiting to just feel secure, to feel trust that I can express this. And it took almost a decade on my spiritual journey for me to reach that level of security within myself, to truly shine in my wholeness, in an absolute and unconditional way. Because earlier also, it was my whole journey was it was a long journey where first I felt completely insecure, completely invisible. I would be behind the scenes and just show my gifts and my power to one or two people who I trusted, who I was working for, who saw my gifts. Then I could slowly expand and show it to a close group of people. And for many years, I was just stuck there. But to come to the level where I can actually shine fully in the world and fulfill my purpose, that is global, it's not just for small groups of people. That's what my soul's mission is to reach whoever needs my gifts, whoever's to be helped by my gifts, and for that to be visible fully, not to just be playing small, and whoever finds me by me being invisible, and if they make all the effort and struggle to find me, then they get the benefits of my gift. No, that I am shining and making it effortless for the people who are meant to connect to me and receive my gift. It took me a long time to get there because I was in this game of having to prove myself, and I was fighting for seats at the wrong table. I wanted a seat at other people's tables that were not really mine, that wasn't my seat. It wasn't a seat where I was going to be fully seen and fully recognized for my gifts. It was always going to be in the shadow of other people. It was always going to be creating their visions and their desires. It was always going to be creating and recreating the past, the games that had actually traumatized me, that had put me into that position of feeling powerless. This is what a lot of us are doing. We are fighting for seats at tables that are recreating the past that have disempowered us. Seats which are recreating the past globally, which is leading to the world that we're living in today, a divisive world, a world which is constantly tearing down each other, that's also not in harmony with nature. There are tables where there are seats that have been reserved for you always. I found that for myself. Not just my own table where I am at the head of the table, where I am the king, where it's my throne, and I have other empowered people working with me. I have that too. And I have other tables where I am seen in that way, where I am recognized with other kings and queens who have me at their tables because they see my power, they see my gifts effortlessly. I don't have to prove anything. They see me, they get me, and they're like, I want you at my table. You belong at my table. And all my energy and effort is only in shining and doing what I'm meant to be doing, not investing most of my energy in proving myself, and then whatever little bit is left, I do it in actually giving my gifts. This was my past, and I see this all the time in my clients. I've worked with over 1,000 people over the past decade, and this is a story that just keeps showing up again and again and again. We are all rooted in this insecurity and using so much of our energy competing for all the wrong things. We are trying to prove ourselves to people who will never get us. People who have their own agendas and who will only use us in ways that benefit them. And even if you get ahead a little bit, they are the ones gaining the most benefit instead of it being a truly win win situation where everyone is growing exponentially and equally together. Everyone is getting the same amount of energy out of it. It's not one is being drained and feeding the other. This is the dynamic in most workplaces, in most, even in relationships, friendships. There's so many of these toxic dynamics where one is feeding the other. Codependencies, abusive relationships. It's not until you learn to value yourself and your gifts, you learn how to actually use them in a way that's unconditional, that's clean, that you just have to use them. You don't have to use them to prove something. You don't have to use them to manipulate someone into being with you and liking you and all of that. You are just there, shining, and the right people get you. This requires practice, this requires training, this requires to be in the presence of people who have got that themselves. It's an energy, it's a frequency which you calibrate to. When you learn to be seen by people who can actually see you in your wholeness unconditionally, that experience for me initially made me realize how challenging it is truly to be in that space where you're just seen and you don't have to do anything. You're just recognized for your gifts and you just get to be yourself. And all of these tendencies want to come out of, let me justify why I'm worthy, let me prove myself. And these people actually get repulsed by it. They actually cut you off and tell you, you don't need to do this. This is not you. And it's very uncomfortable initially. And we don't even realize that what we are truly looking for, we are not even actually prepared for it and ready for it. And we have to do that work. We have to prepare to be seen in our wholeness, in our power, in our beauty, for our gifts, for our magic. It takes training to be seen that way and to feel comfortable in your skin, to truly feel secure in yourself. It takes training, it takes work. It sounds ridiculous. Why would it take work to just feel comfortable in yourself, to feel safe in yourself, to trust yourself? You should just be able to do it, but that's not the reality we live in. That's not how life works. I One of my biggest journeys in this last decade has been trusting myself. I would always be externalizing it, and that's how I learned a lot, was learning how much I don't trust the outside world, others, anyone, really. I came to that deep realization that I don't trust anyone, including myself. I just can't trust. I can't trust that I can just let go and things will be healthy, things will be fine. I don't need to be hyper vigilant. I don't need to be anxious. Even as I say this, like I can feel those feelings that I've had for years, really, where it's constantly about proving myself. And just to be in a space where you don't have that, that is when your anxiety actually gets to relief. And that again requires such a deep level of trust. You need to be able to trust that these people actually see you and hold you, and you can release that in their presence. It's ridiculous how challenging it can be. But once you get through that, wow, it's so magical. It's so magical that you can just be in the space by yourself. It's a gift that I love sharing with people now, because I know that I hold that within myself. I can hold that space for other people because I trust myself so deeply and I feel so secure in myself. I can hold that space for other people to come and feel that. And wow, it's so magical. Every time I get to experience it, sometimes it keeps bringing me to tears also. That wow, like we all just get to shine fully. And that's all you're here to do. And once you come into that, you start your whole world starts opening up. It like you actually just start seeing the world in such a different way. Because that is when you start you come into that frequency and you start finding the people who match that frequency. When you've been living in that anxious frequency of proving yourself, that insecurity, you've just been attracting people who confirm that, who keep telling you that you have to prove yourself, either saying it explicitly or implicitly. In relationships, also, they may say that, oh, I love you unconditionally, but it's not actually modeled in the behavior. You still feel the anxiety of having to prove yourself. When you meet a partner, which I had that experience already, when you meet a partner who just loves you and accepts you, it's crazy how different that whole relationship can be. Where there's nothing to prove, you are just seen and loved for who you are and encouraged to be more of you, to grow fully your gift, to tap into your full potential. There, again, the standard is set for you that I see your potential and I want you to shine more. I love you as you are, but I know you have more and give me more. Bring more of you out. And that becomes the next challenge is growing into that these infinite greater versions of yourself. But that's fun now because you're in a space where people are encouraging you and celebrating you and loving you and just cheering you on and seeing you in your wholeness. It's beautiful because it's not about proving yourself anymore. You're not growing to prove something. You're not achieving that goal to prove something. You're not setting that bar and that standard because you have to win something and show the world how great you are. You're just doing it because you love it and you're enjoying the whole process. You're enjoying the whole journey. This whole mindset we keep hearing about is like, don't focus on the destination, focus on the journey. It becomes effortless, it becomes natural. It's not something you have to think about. You're just loving life so much. You're loving growth. You're loving all aspects of it. You're loving just fulfilling your purpose, helping people in whatever way you're meant to help people, bringing light and life to their lives in whatever way you're meant to. Whether you're an actor, you're a coach, you're a teacher, you're a musician, entrepreneur, and maybe you're all of this and you're shining fully and you're just giving everything to the world. A parent, a child, a family member, a partner. You're bringing light to people's lives in so many ways when you're shining in this way. When you come into this, people invite you. When you have truly found that place within yourself and you start operating from there, again, that's a training. It takes some time to keep showing up from there because so many of our habits and behaviors and patterns keep pulling us back into the conditioning. It requires training to keep showing up from that worthiness, from that security, from that power and strength within you. Where confidence is natural, is not something you have to fake it till you make it. You don't have to keep brainwashing yourself to cope with all the anxiety that's coming from deep within you, that's rooted in your core. Your core just feels solid, it feels secure. That is where confidence is just pouring out of you. It's that's what makes you that magnet because people see, wow, this person is in their wholeness. Their power, their beauty, their magic, their love is just oozing out of you. And that's magnetic. That's true charisma. It's not faked. It's not a charm, a spell that you have to use to manipulate people. And then you have to keep playing that character. This was a huge breakthrough for me around this time last year in that relationship where while I was showing myself fully initially, I was also simultaneously playing the mask because that was my conditioning. So I had this double image inside of me where most of the times I was just being authentic, but in my head, because of my conditioning, I had the mask. And as the relationship progressed, some aspects of the relationship were based on the mask, based on things I had said or pretended to be. And then, few months into the relationship, I realized that's just fake. I can't carry this burden and I cannot keep pretending this way. I cannot keep pretending to be the strong one who doesn't have needs, who doesn't um doesn't need help from my partner. This was the breakthrough, is that I was always the strong one, the supportive one. And at least that was the image, even though that had not always been true, and many times I had needed support and received support, and that was when I was in my authentic self. But this character, which was kind of split from myself, was in this bubble, constantly thinking that, oh, I'm strong, I don't need help. And it's even showed up recently, but now it's much less influential. Now I can snap out of it and just keep realizing that it's wonderful that I have great help available in my life, and I feel great asking for it and receiving it. But anyways, like last year when I was in this bubble and it was very strong, suddenly, like, I just felt the burden of it. I felt the weight of constantly having to pretend that I've got my shit together and I don't need support, especially when it's a mutual situation where both are struggling. And I feel I need to be the supportive one, and I cannot be the one who's also then asking for help, and both are needing help. It's like that's not possible. One has to be the strong one. And that's when I had this breakthrough and I allowed myself to drop that mask and just allowed true vulnerability to happen between two people where both are requiring support. And I realized that that's possible. I realized that it doesn't have to just turn into a shit show, because that's why I had created the mask. Is that if my past was reflecting to me that if both people are being weak and vulnerable, it will lead to chaos, it will become fights, it will become projections, and it will just become a shit show. But because both of us had done a lot of work on ourselves and had reached this place where we could be vulnerable without having to attack the other person, without having to become defensive in any way, and just be like, this is where I am and this is where you are, and it's okay. Like, let's figure this out together. It's not I have to be the savior, the strong one, and you be the weak one, the victim, and I rescue you. And just switching between this dynamic, either I'm the victim or you're the victim, or both are victims and we are both just wanting to hurt each other. That's when I realized the power that gets unlocked when both are vulnerable, but both are also connected to their power. Because that's also how what I developed, what we both had learned at that time, is that vulnerability doesn't mean that you're not connected to your power. It's not weakness. It's just acknowledgement that this is where I am, this is what I'm going through, this is what I need right now. And I've not fully been able to get it, but I have the power to figure this out. I have the power to move through life. And when two people are in that, you get that combined. Both are connected to their power and both can help each other to figure it out, to work through stuff. And since then, it not only changed the way I relate to people in intimate relationships or as friends, family, whatever it is, but also as a facilitator, as a guide, as a teacher, as a mentor. It's just completely shifted how I help people, because now it helps me to even deeper activate their strength. Even if they're vulnerable, I don't have to be the one saving them. I learned how to draw out the power by saying, okay, I'm here. I'm either strong or I'm also going through the same thing, but here's our power combined. Let's figure this out together. What is your power? What are your gifts? Let's bring them out. Let's learn how to use that. And this is what the video started with. It's actually teaching people how to use their power. We have not been taught this, and it is something we need to learn. Just having power, having gifts, having strength, being magical, doesn't mean you actually know how to live from that all the time. It doesn't mean you know how to use it in all the different situations and circumstances. It doesn't mean you know how to actually even express it. This is something so many of us struggle with. We have so much to give, we have so many gifts. Our soul is waiting to fulfill its purpose, its mission, to experience that deep fulfillment and satisfaction. But it just feels handicapped because it doesn't know how to reach people, how to connect with people, how to get them to see that this is how I can help you. We constantly go into this proving mode, we go into this convincing mode, we go into this fake selling or this toxic selling mode of like, again, which is all coming from insecurities, instead of actually just shining your gift and saying, this is who I am, and showing that actually, not with marketing jargon, but actually connecting, actually showing that this is what I have overcome. This is my strength. These are my gifts. This is how this is how my gifts can help you. That's it. Because you know that this is how your gifts can help the other person. Or if it comes to a relationship, not having to put on a mask and pretend that you are something else. This is why I am beautiful, why I'm worthy, why I'm strong, why I'm magical. And I know that being with me is just going to make your life double of that. Because I'm also matching someone who is all of that. I see them and they see me. Truly, this is so much about being seen. And that, again, is one of the core experiences I provide, even if people don't realize it, in my groups, in my one on one coaching, wherever it is. Even in these videos, I make people feel seen because I see you. I see what you're struggling with. I see what you're going through. And I see your potential. I don't just see you and this is your problem and now you have to figure it out. I see you and I know what you can become because that's who you are. All you have to learn is how to activate that. And now I truly feel secure in myself to give that gift to others. I don't have to prove anything anymore. I reached that place within myself. And it's not a long time ago. Even if you see my very recent videos, many of the times I was slipping into proving, not feeling secure in myself. My voice would be different. I would be more serious, more in this monotonous, unexpressive way, just talking. But truly, like the way I feel connected today, the way I feel the conviction and the confidence in myself today that I am living my soul's purpose. I am shining fully. This is exactly what I'm meant to be doing. That is available to everyone. I know that. I know it's just a matter of learning how to tap into that. It's just learning to be you. It's weird, but that is what we all need to learn because we have only been taught to be this mask, this other version, this conditioned version, this programmed version. Learning to be you is something we need in this world. It is a training. And once you get that, everything clicks. Everything clicks. Everything that the people who've exploded told you, it actually starts clicking. If you only listen to it mentally and try to practice it in this very mental way without actually feeling that connection within you, without feeling that embodiment within you, it won't work. You'll keep buying courses. You'll keep doing things by yourself, struggling, flailing around, trying to guess and figure it out. But really, working with people who have that training, learning to use that, learning to be seen. This is where the game's at. Invest in that and learn to shine. This is what I'm offering in my courses, in my trainings, and I would be super happy to have you in that space. I look forward to seeing you in that space, shining there and shining everywhere. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, please drop them. I would love to connect with you and explore this topics deeper in the future. Thank you for watching.